What's up, fellow nerds? It's your boy Matt McMeme here, coming at you with got a list over here. Doing a list to get me some views because Black Mirror is trendy right now, and I actually have watched it. So, and people, they're fans of Black Mirror. I think it's pretty alright. There's been a lot of goofing on Black Mirror, and I understand it. It's, I've been a fan of most of the goofs on it. But I think it's honestly not that bad. I think it's pretty alright. So I'm going to do the top 18, because there's 18 episodes. Top 18 episodes of Black Mirror. So coming in at number 18, worst episodes, gotta be Playtest, okay? That's a lot. It's not the worst episode. I just didn't watch it because it was too scary for me. So it's like not applicable NA, but I had to put it on the list somewhere, else it wouldn't be top 18, which would probably get less YouTube traffic, because that would be less than the actual amount of episodes that there are of Black Mirror, and that would just be weird. So yeah, it's probably pretty good. It's just too scary for me. I can't watch it. It's too scary. Number 17, the actual worst episode, is Metalhead. And you'll probably see a lot of season 4 up at the, near the kind of beginning of this list. It's just, I appreciate the risk that they took with Metalhead. It's very different than most of Black Mirror, and I appreciate that they're willing to mix up the formula so much, but there just really isn't much there in terms of substance. The characters you meet for like 5 minutes and then they're all killed, except for the main character, who, she doesn't talk very much or anything. She's just kind of there. The robot is cool and stuff, but without much of a background on it, we don't really get any information about it or the world that it's in. It's basically just a big 45-minute or however long chase sequence, which is, it's kind of interesting, I guess. It runs a little long, obviously, but there really isn't much substance there at all, and the twist at the end is fucking dumb. So, it was all for a teddy bear. Shut the fuck up, fucking Metalhead. So yeah, definitely the worst in my opinion. Number 16, Hang the DJ. Really just really just kind of dumb. It's like, oh, God, what even is there to say about it? It's, the two main characters, they're pretty uninteresting. The big, conflict in their romance is dumb. The twist kind of invalidates the entire episode's existence. It was just a simulation run in a real-life dating app. Oh God. Then why do I care? Then what the fuck does... it's just... I feel like people have pointed this out. I tried to replicate San Junipero to a certain extent, but just way dumber. It's just... that one's just not very good either. It's a close tie between which is the worst and second worst between this one and Metalhead. But this, at least has a semblance of some kind of, message or something. So I guess that was what gives it the slight edge. Now, big jump in quality, in my opinion. Up to number 15, we have the National Anthem. Unlike those last two. Definitely not a bad episode by any means. But it's a bit slow. The conflict is certainly not the most engaging thing in all of Black Mirror. But even so, it is definitely still engaging. The sheer oddity of the situation definitely makes it intriguing for a little while at least. And the twist at the end, it's all a big art piece, and the princess was released like a half hour before the prime minister had to fuck the pig. That was pretty funny. even though it wasn't exactly played for laughs, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, a decent episode, a bit slow, doesn't really, kind of play with technology at all, which, not every episode has to do necessarily, but yeah, it's fine. But certainly, as a lot of people have said over the years, not the greatest introduction to the series. Number 14, I have Archangel. Probably the most Black Mirror episode of season 4, I think. Really just kind of a by-the-numbers story with a very, very clear message. Technology that honestly has kind of already been explored within Black Mirror, of the whole being able to see through other people's eyes, albeit taken in a different direction than say what it was like in White Christmas, for example. But yeah, I mean, it's well executed and stuff. Kind of get into the characters and stuff a little bit, but just the premise is not super engaging. The moral is incredibly fucking obvious. It's not super deep or anything. And, there isn't really much of a twist either. It's just like, it's pretty straightforward, it's fine. Yeah. Number 13, I have Crocodile. A Crocodile is, it's an interesting one, I think, just because, in terms of talking about, future tech that we don't have, it kind of scales back in terms of future tech that we don't have currently, with the whole mind remembering thing. It's a lot shittier than most of the other future stuff in Black Mirror in terms of, it requires a lot of stuff to actually be able to work, which I thought was interesting. But, it's more of like a plot device within the episode rather than the focus of the episode at all. And the focus is pretty interesting, I think, about this woman who fucking committed manslaughter or whatever years ago, and fucking disposed of the body. And, she's willing to kill people in order to cover up that murder from years ago after having, husband and a son, built a happy life for herself. And kind of just seeing how far she will go, off the deep end, I suppose, in order to protect her nice, happy, normal life. Which is interesting. The main character, whatever, her fucking Scordish lady, she's pretty cool. I think you get a decent character study of her. Weird complaint about the episode. It looked like fucking Iceland, and everyone there was Scottish. That was kind of weird. But, yeah. But what kind of holds it back from being better is the twist at the end is so fucking dumb. Fucking guinea pig memories, fucking... That's dumb as shit. Dumb as hell. But other than that, it's a pretty engaging character episode, although the technology isn't really, much of a moment, which, that's part of the appeal of Black Mirror, but, whatever, it's not important. Number 12, the Waldo moment. It's pretty... I think it's probably one of the more contemporary social critiques that Black Mirror has, is kind of the whole comedy and entertainment as legitimate political statements, with the whole fucking Stephen Colbert, Trevor Noah, comedians legitimately having sway with political stuff. And kind of coming out against that. But, it's interesting commentary. The episode itself isn't... It's kind of rooted in British politics to a certain extent. Which, that's just is fucking... The least interesting thing in the world is British politics. But, the main character, his struggle of, like, being wanting to take seriously, and not feeling comfortable with doing political stuff with Waldo. All that is pretty interesting. And, it's pretty decent social commentary as well, so it's pretty good. Number 11 is The Entire History of You. Also kind of a straightforward episode. Technology they explore is interesting. The idea that you're basically constantly recording everything that your eyes see. This guy's kind of descent into paranoia and madness of thinking that his wife's cheating on him. And then ultimately it turning out that she was. That was pretty crazy, because, usually if someone's being all paranoid, then usually their fears are unjustified, but they subverted it by making it real and justified. It's crazy. And also just, the idea that you can relive things, you can, all that stuff. That's crazy. But also the fact that, he did discover the truth, but in the end, that still fucking destroyed his marriage and stuff, and he's all alone and miserable and all that. So that's a decent message as well, I think, that, sometimes you just leave well enough alone. And the technology's pretty cool, and it's pretty good. I don't know what the fuck. It's season 1. I haven't seen this shit in a while, so it's fine. Number 10. Top 10. We're in the top 10 already, folks, and it's only been 12 minutes. Number 10, we have Black Museum. I've seen some people say, and this is a weird take to me, but that it's the best episode of the show so far, which, is pretty good. But I don't know about the best episode of the show. Black Museum's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of the multiple stories within, other episodes kind of format, as you might see later on in the list. And Black Museum does it pretty well. I think, some of the stories, well, shit, there's only like 2 pretty much, other than the main kind of thing with the prisoner guy. The first one it's just kind of like a fucking goofy, funny, kooky thing, which, is kind of fun to watch, I suppose, just for the woo factor alone, but, there isn't really anything to it, narratively speaking. And the second one, it's a fun idea to fucking have another consciousness in your mind. That's kind of interesting. And of course the ending with her being put in the fucking monkey is like really sad, actually. But that as well, the fucking moral of it is pretty simple. That, you can't have people, backseat driving your whole life. Wow, I didn't know that. And of course the whole confrontation thing with Rolo, whatever, Jocko Willink. That's pretty cool. He's a big dick, so I like the fact that he is fucking tortured forever or whatever. And it's pretty chill. Cool ending. Pretty good episode. Number 9. I have White Bear. On this episode, it debated me a little bit. At first, I was under the impression that it was like, oh boy, people are looking at their phones, so they don't care about this woman, fucking running for her life. Oh, it's very good commentary of you. Black Mirror, it's very smart. But it subverted. Well, maybe they were trying to make that point a little bit, but I just kind of sweep that under the rug, give the show the benefit of the doubt. The whole narrative is really engaging with this woman, on the run from this masked unknown man doing all that complicated shit. The twist was unexpected, to say the least. It's certainly a creative fucking concept of basically making a tourist attraction out of this, like, perpetual torture or whatever of this criminal woman. You know, it's like, well, does she deserve it? Does she not? You know, it asked you, should crime be more, or should you know, like prison or whatever be more punitive, or should it be more rehabilitatory? That's probably the word I would say. Raises a lot of good questions. It's a cool story. Everything is just really pretty good on White Bear. Although it's a little slow. That would be kind of my main complaint, is that the narrative is a little slow sometimes. Number 8, I have USS Callister. It's just, you know, it's just fun. Well, you know, a lot of it is pretty fun. Some of it is a little horrifying. Of course, you know, you know that it's a pretty good episode. I think it probably has, in my opinion, the most interesting social commentary, if not necessarily the most well done in the show. But, you know, commenting on white, cishet white nerd power fantasies, and showing that even this passive ass, you know, fucking loser IRL, or maybe because he's a passive ass loser IRL, is willing to do horrible shit when he has the ability to, which I think it's pretty realistic, and it's pretty cool. And I'm glad that they, you know, showing how evil gamers are and that they need to be killed. You know, the Star Trek parody is fun. A lot of the goofy shit in the episode is very fun as well. The fact that they have no genitals is very funny. You know, stuff like that. And, you know, having no genitals thing, that also is kind of interesting in terms of how it plays along with the white male nerdy fantasy. And then, you know, because he kisses the girls after the missions or whatever, but the fact that he wouldn't want to go further, I think that's pretty interesting and telling. So yeah, it's just a good fucking episode. It's fun. It has a very nice ending. It's just a good time. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Number 7, I have Hated in the Nation. You know, actually, I kind of forget most of this episode other than the premise. Is it actually as good? I don't know. I just remember the bees, man. That was pretty cool. And that they killed like fucking hundreds of millions of people. That was pretty crazy. I don't know, that one might not actually be that good. I'm sorry about that one, guys. I don't remember that episode very well. Number 6, though. Men Against Fire. Another episode with some pretty biting social commentary. You know, we're introduced to this fucking crazy, like, post-apocalyptic looking ass world with fucking, you know, it's like some Resident Evil shit or whatever. Then it turns out, actually, they're, you know, the Roaches, I think they're called. They're actually, you know, a fucking, just some, you know, some kind of ethnic group of people or whatever, who the soldiers have been programmed or whatever to look like these scary fucking monsters or whatever. Which is, you know, it's pretty biting, if you know what I'm saying. The set design is really good in that episode specifically. Very nice use of tone. Turn my computer back on. A lot of grays and browns and just these dull, gross colors, which fit the tone of the episode very well. Again, the concept and the social commentary are pretty on point. And the fact that I think the main character chooses, like, to get his memory erased or whatever to deal with the guilt of having killed a bunch of people, It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Episode number 5. Number 5 episode of Black Mirror Best of list. Number 5, Shut Up and Dance. Now, for those of you who are big fans of Matt McAmee, you may have seen that I have posted a video relating to this episode, which probably is my favorite ending in all of Black Mirror. It's goofy as shit, but other than that, it's kind of similar to Crocodile, just kind of in terms of the idea of what would you do to kind of maintain your life as it is. What kind of horrible shit would you do? But I feel it explores it in a more creative and realistic, honestly, way. We get to know the two main characters pretty well. We kind of become endeared to them, attached to their struggle, the kind of little father-son relationship they develop. And then, of course, for everything to go wrong with the troll face, it's just crazy. And then, of course, also to learn that the fucking guy was watching kitty porn. That's fucked up, dude. What the fuck? Also, isn't he like fucking 16? Is that is it legal at that point? I don't know the rules. But yeah, it's really good. Okay, I don't have much time. Okay, that's why I'm kind of shortening these down. Also because these are older, so I remember them less. So you can just shut up. Number 4, I have San Junipero. I mean, it's going to be somewhere up top, obviously, for most people. I don't know if there's much to say about San Junipero that ain't been said. Other than that, I guess the reason why I wouldn't put it higher is just because the opening, 15, 20 minutes or whatever, it's confusing, but not in necessarily an enjoyable way. It's more just kind of confusing in the, you're lost way. But then obviously the show explains itself, and that's all well and good. But that's pretty much my only complaint. And obviously everything else, everyone's already talked about how much they love it, so I don't even need to. So that's the joke of it all, is I can just skip that one right there. Number 3, Be Right Back. This episode probably it's a big emotional investment for me personally. Just because, I have had a personal family member die in my experience. And, this episode, it, gets you right in the feels. At least me personally. Other people may not necessarily have that personal connection with them. But for me, it's pretty cool, alright? The idea of having a fucking robot basically emotionally replace this person in your life, or at least try to. That is, it's pretty crazy. The main two characters, you really see the love that they have for each other, and how much the woman depends on him, and how when he's dead, she's just fucking distraught. And then she has the slight hope that he's back or whatever, and it's just real sad, and also real good. Number 2, I have 15 Million Merits. Now, this might be just because I was a little bit let down with the first episode, and also because I'm a bombinist, but 15 Million Marks kind of blew me away when I first saw it, just because, it's so out there. It's probably the most, I think the most out there scenario the Black Mirror ever did, where basically these people are living in a shitty fucking cell phone game. They just have to pedal and watch ads and stuff like that, which is horrible, and it sounds like the worst existence possible. And of course, they have... It's a very good metaphor for capitalism, I think. because then they have the hope of escape. You can follow your dreams and you can get out of poverty and, rowing your bike all the time, and you can escape into a life of luxury. But instead you get a porn star, and you become a glass man. I think that also was one of the more interesting bits of social commentary at the end of the episode, where it's like even acts of resistance to the system will be used as, will be used to reinforce that. That will be commodified as well, if it can be. That's just really sad and stuff, but it's just great. It's just pure Kino, just amazing, fantastic. Number 1, best Black Mirror episode is White Christmas. Now, see, if you remember, I said I like the multiple stories within the story format. So if you were smart, then you knew that this was going to be my number 1. But yeah, I mean, the 3, I guess there's 3. Yeah, the stories intertwining is done amazingly. The stories in and of themselves, kind of the mini narratives contained within, are all great and intriguing. The technology explored. The fucking, isn't that what? Yeah, that was this episode where there's the fucking smart home or whatever thing is an AI copy of the owner of the home, tortured through thousands of years of doing nothing. That's fucking crazy, man. It's so interesting. And of course the whole, guy getting killed by this girl. That's oh my god, it's fucking crazy. And of course the whole thing with the other guy who accidentally kills his daughter. Or no, not his daughter, I suppose, actually. That's the whole point, I guess. Just obsession is bad. Don't be obsessed with stuff. Unless it's watching Matt McMean videos. And of course, again, how they all tie together, how the guy is stuck in the simulation listening to that shitty song forever. And even the guy that, got him to confess, he is stuck in a world where everyone is a bunch of big fucking gray blobs and he can't hear anyone talk, which is, is that even a way you want to live? But yeah, that's the list. I hope you were a fan of the list. Season 4 was not very good, unfortunately. Really feel kind of let down that I have to wait another year or whatever until season 5. But I guess that's just the way it is.